Transition Radio TV brought to you by thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your cross-dressing and transgender needs. Visit their website at www.thebreastformstore.com and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Milton Manors, Florida. With your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Latham.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Transition Radio TV Thursday nights. And we're very glad you joined us yet again for another great interview and episode.
Live from Milton Manors.
For now.
For now.
We're going to have to change that opening, and we're going to have a generic opening because God only knows where we're going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, so
coming to you live from
somewhere in the United States of America, definitely.
Barrow, Alaska. There you go. Barrow, Alaska.
Huh?
What?
Barrow, Alaska.
No, I don't think we won't be going to Barrow, Alaska. No Alaska.
No.
Wherever the RV.
Yes.
That's about it.
And no snow.
Or rain.
Or rain. Yes.
We're trying to
stay away from the rain.
It's been raining all day.
Desert.
For the past 2 days. We're looking for desert.
Desert, here we come.
Yes.
Well, tonight we have Meinel, an American author, was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and emerged full-formed behind a keyboard sometime in the 1960s, where she still resides today after a 17-year detour through Southern and Central California on the beach. Her first novel, Ships, written in 2003, was to be the beginnings of many masterpieces. Bringing her characters to life in the pages of her books, she discovered a real talent for writing romances.
She's the best-selling author of the novel Represented, and her other works include long-distance romance, Germanic, and timed romance. Her novella, Sapphic Surfer, has been a bestseller, and others such as Sapphic Cowboy, Sapphic Cowgirl, and Ghostly Love have received acclaim. In 2011, she started her infamous Malice series, including an anti-hero killer by the name of Alice.
Writing well-researched romance novels with humor and a bit of spice, she plans to travel some more to fuel her ever-hungry keyboard with many more places she hasn't already been in her books.
She enjoys pets and thinks of them as active characters in her books, from dogs, cats, to horses, and more unique animals. She knows a lot about animals. In some capacity, she has been in the pet industry for 30 years or more, from showing and training to selling and exhibiting.
By Meinel. I am reading Ships, my very first novel. Chapter 32. The day of Joan and Grace's wedding was simply beautiful. As most days in Hawaii were paradise, this one wouldn't disappoint. Joan kept her early morning tanning appointment, and the 2 sessions had produced minor results. She lost some of the pasty look that she had acquired on tour. She also had them clean her pores and exfoliate them. Refreshed, she sat in the steam room for a while and then had a massage. She arrived back at the suite to find Brian nervously pacing there. She wasn't late, she still had a couple of hours. Evidently, he had been sent by Grace to check on her, and when she couldn't be found, it had caused panic in the ranks. Laughing it off, she gave him a package to give to Grace and sent him back to her. She went to bathe, and there came a knock on her door. The hairdresser she had hired was there. Sitting there in her robe, they unbraided her many braids together. The hairdresser waited while Joan took a long hot bath and washed her hair. It was the first time in over 4 years that she had seen it loose, and it took some getting used to. The hairdresser brushed out its length. With the braids in, she had known it was long, but the braided lengths pulled them up and together. Unbraided, her hair fell to mid-thigh. The hairdresser exclaimed over its red-brown color and length. Joan was lucky. Hereditary had blessed her with no gray hairs as of yet. Grace kept her blonde hair colored the same blonde over the years, and no one could tell if she was hiding gray hair. The hairdresser helped her dress and again brushed out the hair. She rubbed it until it shone. Covering up her dress, Joan applied her makeup and jewelry and applied her perfume carefully so as not to stain her dress. Slipping on her heels, she was ready, and none too soon, as a knock at the door attested. The hairdresser let herself out as she let Craig in. Joan came out of the bedroom and he stopped in his tracks. He too had gotten used to her braids, and the sight that greeted him overwhelmed him. This stunning woman was his mother? Smiling broadly, he told her how beautiful she looked. Blinking back tears, she thanked him. Going to her room safe, she took out the ring that she had ordered last from the jeweler. Handing it to Craig, she warned him not to lose it. Laughing, he told her she should have warned Aaron, who would be carrying it down the aisle for her. He escorted her down a private elevator and hid her on one side of the chapel, where the ceremony would be performed. She stood there nervously, trying not to faint from it all. Her heart was beating so hard she could hear it. In a few minutes she would go out there and marry the woman she loved. Grace had awoken early despite the party of the previous evening. She felt so good this morning that she was sure everything would go smoothly. Promptly at 8, the wedding planner arrived to help with the last-minute details. Grace had already bathed and shaved. No nicks to bleed all over her gown or to jinx things. She applied her makeup carefully today. She brushed her hair out until every lock was in place. Her careful coloring over the years made it look natural and soft. It framed her face beautifully. She sat there in her robe talking to the wedding planner. Brian stopped by to eat breakfast with her. She asked him to check on his mother, and when she couldn't be found, she became frantic. Suppose she had passed out from exhaustion or dehydration. She phoned the local hospital to find out if Joan was admitted there or a woman of her description, only to be told no. Grace spent a very worrisome time until Brian returned with a package from his mother. She had returned to her suite and was getting ready. Annoyed, Grace calmed herself to open the package from Joan. How sweet, a wedding gift. Opening it, she found a large jewelry box that contained a pendant, earrings, a bracelet, and even an anklet. All of it matched her ring with the slender hands. The sapphires sparkled in their settings. It was a very expensive and incredible set. Grace was overwhelmed. A note was inside the lid. Pulling it out, Grace read, "Something old, an old design. Something new, made just for you. Something borrowed, well, that's up to you. Something blue, they are real sapphires. I love you, Joan." She showed the note and the jewelry to Brian, who helped her on with it all. He was adept at the necklace and bracelet, but the earrings and anklet he let her do. She started to tear up when she saw them in the mirror. Brian warned her that she'd ruin her makeup and handed her a sapphire blue silk handkerchief to borrow. Such thoughtful gifts, so much work had gone into them. She touched her necklace and thought about Joan. She'd be married to her in about a half an hour. She went to get dressed, and the planner helped her on with her dress, careful not to smudge it with makeup. She carefully dabbed on
Now, welcome to our show, the amazing Can Meinel.
Thank you.
How are ya?
I'm good. A little cold, but I'm okay.
I'm not gonna talk about cold because everybody will laugh at me.
Yeah, she has a little heater and it's like 70 degrees and I'm like, are you for real? I mean, I'm sweating and she's got this little, or else she'll try to put the central heater on. I'm like, no, we're not. I don't like heaters. I can't stand them. So.
Well, it was 40 below here the other day, so I'm not going to sympathize with you in the least.
I wouldn't expect it, not with that cold. No way.
And you're in California and it gets below.
I'm in Wisconsin again.
In Wisconsin, okay. I was going to say, because if it gets below 40 in California, we're not going there.
No.
Yeah.
It gets that cold. Not 40 below, but 40 above.
Okay, well, that's doable. But
no, it's not.
Well, there's no other place to go. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for being on our show. We had you on the radio show, and we loved you so much, and we brought you to the TV show so that the listeners can now put a face to that lovely voice.
Thank you.
And the great books.
Yeah, and the awesome books. I don't know how you do it. Just spit them out, one after the other.
I have an overactive imagination, and I'm a classic overachiever, so.
That, I guess, works great when you're in the industry of writing, because that way you have a lot of great books. And a lot of them, as we mentioned in your bio, are bestsellers, which is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I do appreciate my fans.
Yes, without the fans, there's nothing.
Absolutely.
So tell our viewers about your first book, Ships, and how it came to be.
Well, I actually had a dream, and I couldn't get it out of my head. It was driving me absolutely insane. So I thought, well, write it down, and maybe that'll help exercise it for my brain. And actually, that has worked on several books since then. So I wrote Ships over the course of 2 weeks.
Wow. And how many pages?
That one I think is like 300 and some.
In 2 weeks. Wow. Super typer. I mean, wow, that's amazing.
I was also working at the time, running some businesses. So I thought about the story in each chapter or scene while I was working, and then I would go take a break and type. And I met my first girlfriend halfway in the middle of that. Something told me to finish that book and hurry up.
Yeah, there you go.
God, it takes me 20 minutes to write a grocery list.
Now, see, I'd write a grocery list and forget to bring it along.
I know that too.
So that's why it helps to write your grocery list on your phone, because your phone's always with you. So now we had a little notepad. But
yeah, exactly.
It amazes me how some individuals have that talent that just could throw things out like that and be good material. I mean, because there's one thing of just throwing stories on paper, but having them be such successful stories. And you're definitely a storyteller.
Some authors take a year to write a book, take years to write a book. Some of my books have taken years where I start sections of it and I go back and add here and there, but then I might not touch it for a couple of years because, for instance, Germanic took me a couple of years because of the subject matter was so personal.
That's awesome.
It's different for every writer.
Let me ask you, the pendant you have around your neck, is that the same one that's on the book Ships? I thought so.
Yep.
Very observant. I had.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yin and a yang.
It's a yin yang. Yeah.
Yin yang.
Yeah. I happen to believe in the philosophy of yin yang, that there isn't all good and there isn't all bad, but you have to have both to have a balance.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. With everything, and we'll look. And all saying, you can't wash one hand without the other. You need light, and you also need darkness. You need good, and you need bad. You need everything. It's a dance that we are here on this earth to learn how to do. And I believe the philosophy.
Yeah, and you have those people who are always so negative, and it's always dark, and everything. The glass is half empty. Well, drink whatever's in the glass, then. You've got to find a silver lining, solve your problem, and go on from there, because living your life miserably is just not the answer.
Right.
Most of my books have hope in them, have a happily ever after, as it were. Not every single one. And for instance, the short story I just wrote and released, that is a double entendre throughout it, and I hope the fans really like that when they realize that it says love of my life. Well, the key word in there is life.
Yes.
I think a lot of people take life for granted, and they don't realize that we are actors on a stage, and this is a game that if you learn how to play it, it could be something very beautiful. And even the worst of situations can turn out being something good in the long run. And that's
you
what I
learn
try to
so much from those bad situations too. I mean, you can have a horrific couple of days, and I always find laughter in the worst things. I mean, I was laughing at my mother's funeral, but she would have appreciated that.
Definitely. And I think people look at death as something so terrible, and it's not. It's a new beginning. I don't think what we look at life, it's not exactly what life is all about. And what we have been programmed to believe from the time we're little is so like incorrect. So if we look at things with different eyes and realize that even death is a great thing. We celebrate birth and we down death, and it's like
mourn death.
Yeah, we mourn death. And
well, I don't fear death at all. In fact, to me, it's a journey. It's the next great thing. I was given only 4 or 5 months to live, and to have to tell my children that, and it was 4 months after my mother died that I was given that prognosis, and I was like, well, great. I was 34 years old, and what do you do with that? Well, here it is 13 years later, that. Because that 4 or 5 months that they gave me, I became a human guinea pig for Stanford in California. And I actually wrote about that in Germanic, and that's why it was so hard to write. It took forever because dealing with all those emotions again. It's a journey. It's not the end.
No, it's not.
No.
That's one of the things that I've always known. It's one of the things I try to tell people. Because people often get very sad when someone they love pass away. And if you think about it, they're with you always because you have that memory, you have that essence, that energy that's in your heart. And it's a new beginning.
My mom actually visited me. And I know a lot of people think that's kooky and weird, whatever. But I believe in the hereafter. I believe God gives you second chances. And I honestly believe I'm on several lifetimes. I mean, there are things in my novels, there is no way I could know these things. I would have to have experienced it firsthand, not read in a textbook, not read in somebody else's book, but actually experienced. And I've written about those things.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned that you get a lot of your books from your dreams, you're an evolved spirit, and you've been doing this many, many lifetimes. And I believe that those individuals that have had many experiences are the ones that are able to go in through that gate and see things and either create through writing, music, and all sorts of different creative avenues. So,
Well, I was an artist and a businesswoman for several decades. I used to make novelty signs. You've seen those signs that say like Rottweiler Crossing or no parking except for Bob. Well, I owned the largest in the country that actually did that. And I wrote about that in my book, Long Distance Romance. And a lot of people don't realize that aspect of the book is actually true. And I wrote about it so that I didn't have to remember all the details anymore. It was kind of a way to always remember it because now it's in print.
there you go.
Wow, that's awesome. I used to love those little signs. I've had a couple in the past.
Yeah, well, we specialized in aluminum and details. I worked with a local artist, and then I took her art and I created, I'd take like Rottweiler, and we started with that. Well, by the time we got done, we had 30 different signs with Rottweiler on them, and I made a catalog, so I learned my art skill because I make all my own covers for my books. And so I'm utilizing all these skills that I accumulated over the years. And I never considered myself an artist or creative. And here I've been doing it for 30 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is awesome. So let me ask you, what was your coming out like? And what was your aha moment?
I've never officially come out. So if they haven't figured it out by now, But my aha moment was right about the time that Ships came to me. I was watching the reruns of the show ER, and the storyline was about two lesbians. And I didn't like the main character. I always detested her. But the other character, I started having feelings for, which made me kind of realize, guys aren't doing it for me. And my divorce was pretty bad from my children's father. So let's try women. And then I met my girlfriend, and we were just going to have an affair, and we fell in love.
Wow.
How beautiful that is.
That is.
Yes.
Didn't last, but hey, it was a good
Hey.
start.
But see, that's what life is all about, experiences. You know, we want to hold
Yes.
on to things and never let go. And how can you have another experience if you continue to hold on to that same one? I mean, it's...
Well, that's just it. I'm always looking for that new experience. I mean, I plan on traveling. I plan on those experiences, and you'll realize it too when you travel. How many things you didn't realize being in a small enclosed RV drive you absolutely insane.
Well, you know, I mean, how can you sit there and say that you don't like something when you don't even taste it first?
Exactly.
You know?
And how can you
Right.
grow?
Well,
I
I
don't know.
traveled for 3.5 years with my sons. I mean, we stayed in hotels. We traveled all over the country, and it was overrated because you get sick of fast food. But you know what? It was some of the best times of my life because my boys were just absolutely wonderful ages.
And it's an amazing thing because you get to make connections throughout the United States, different folks that you meet, whether it's in campgrounds, different cities. I mean, we plan to meet as many Facebook friends that we have, and we have between both of us like 8,000 Facebook friends. Yeah. So that's going to be
I was amazed the people I ran into. That blew my mind. I mean, I drove all day through the forest fires in California and ended up in Lake Tahoe. Well, all the rooms were taken because of the forest fires. Everybody was diverted onto the roads up there. And, you know, they don't put up no vacancy at like Motel 6. So I went in and they're like, well, we have no room. And I'm like, well, what about your handicap room? Because I'm handicapped. And, well, I was then anyways. And then later on, I came back because I got the room. And the gal at the front desk, I'd known her for years when I lived in Morro Bay. So, I mean, what a small world it is when you're traveling. You meet all these new people, but they're really not new. They're just people you haven't seen recently. So.
Exactly.
Oh, great. I can see how that's going to work out.
What do you mean?
I run into some of my old high school friends. I'm going to be like, hey, I know you. They're going to be like, who are you?
I think you might look a little differently at this point, right?
Yeah,
just a wee bit.
Yes. Just a little.
My hair's a little longer.
Well, mine too. I had very, very short hair in high school. I looked like a soft butch.
There you go. I had hair. Lots of it.
Liar.
I had long curly hair. Now I have none.
I was bald 13 years ago. I shaved my head. It was down to my waist, and it was coming out in gobs because of the chemo. And I just took a dog clippers one day and shaved my head. It's overrated for a very feminine woman, by the way. It's shocking.
Actually, I've seen some really sexy women with shaved heads. I think
I'm not one of them.
I love your hair. Your hair is gorgeous.
Thank you.
As an author, do you read other works? And if so, who are your favorites?
I read other authors all the time because I also own a publishing house called Shadow Publishing. And so I read a lot of lesbian fiction. One of my favorite authors is one of mine, and her name is Jenna Slaughter. But I should also mention some of my others. Dawn Carter, she's selling really, really well with her first books. And Quinn Masters, he's transitioning. He writes lesbian fiction, and he really gets it right. He's very, very good.
Wow.
I read a lot of romance, and I love historical fiction. So I read Beatrice Small and Joanna Lindsay. I used to read Danielle Steele, but I haven't liked her stuff in the last few years. But these were inspirations for me to write my own because they weren't coming out with books fast enough that I could enjoy.
Wow, that's a way of fixing a problem.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
Yeah, write it myself.
If they're not making enough of it, make it yourself.
Make it yourself. Definitely.
That's right.
You have a blog that showcases other authors. Tell us about that.
Well, it was originally I resisted, but another author talked me into it. And I started using it to, promote my own books. And then I started using it to promote other authors because it was reciprocal. They would promote me, I would promote them. And then when I had started the publishing company, I also started a blog there. So I just combined, cross blogging and teaching my authors how to blog. And it's really an excellent sales tool and an excellent way to reach out to the fans, especially with all the social networking, because it's tied into Facebook, it's tied into Twitter, Pinterest, even Amazon it's tied in, so they can read all of everything I'm doing that I, want to tell people about.
Social media is definitely, it's taken off, and it's an amazing thing to get people out there. And no matter what, whether you're an author or a musician, I mean, it's just an amazing tool, especially for the indie artists, and self-publishing authors and things like that, where you don't have to so much.
I still consider myself a self-published author, even though I own the publishing company, because some of the things that you enter into, you have to have a publishing label. So technically, I'm my own publishing label.
So let me ask you, you consider yourself a gypsy and have traveled the world. Can you share with our viewers some of the exciting places you have gone to and the many books that you have written inspired by it?
Well, I've only been out of this country to Mexico, and I don't think Tijuana counts. I used to travel there a lot, actually. It was really fun because, you bargain and whatnot. But I've traveled all over this country, from one end of the country to the other for my businesses. And now my plans are to travel outside the country because I write about a lot of other countries based on my research. So now I actually want to see those places. And besides, my passport is still a virgin, so we want to take care of that.
Definitely.
Isn't Tijuana the place where they have those cactuses? You eat them and they make you see funny colors?
No, Tijuana is...
I don't know anything about that.
Tijuana is almost like Mexico, but it's really like...
I was talking about peyote.
Yeah, so I'm talking about Tijuana or whatever the place is. No, you could get peyote anywhere. You could get peyote in Texas and New Mexico and the desert. You don't have to go to Tijuana to get peyote.
Well, because we're going to be in the desert area. I just wanted to know what cactuses were safe to eat and which ones weren't.
Well, then there's that old internet fable about cactuses exploding and they're full of spiders. So don't pick up any cactus.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
No cactuses.
Stay away from the cactuses.
Not a good thing.
Stick to mushrooms.
Okay.
We're going to stop you at every border.
Sorry, I just had to go there. It was the Tijuana thing that got me off track.
I wouldn't go to Tijuana anime. It's run by the drug lords now.
Yes, it is. Actually, I lived in El Paso, Texas back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And we used to go to Juarez all the time. You could get really good deals on all sorts of stuff. I recently, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, went back to El Paso, and I refused to cross the border because things have changed dramatically. There's a lot of crime.
Well, a friend of mine lives in San Diego, and we're planning on a trip to Baja because Baja has a huge American expatriate, what do you want to call it, population there. And it's very inexpensive to live. So I'm thinking maybe I will retire there, especially if Fukushima, explodes and makes the radiation on California, make it not tenable, to live there. So I'll go down to Baja and see if I can stand the heat.
Oh.
Yeah.
How hot does it get there?
Very hot.
Well, it's the tropics.
Yeah.
You're getting really close to the equator, especially as farther south you go.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty hot.
Pretty hot.
But
hey,
want
at least it's not cold.
You got to go through the desert to get to those places.
There's just sky's the limit.
Okay, sky's the limit.
Yeah, sky's the limit. Don't scare her. It's okay. We have another video clip of one of your books, Long Distance Romance.
Make a downtown, walking fast, faces pass and I'm homebound. Staring blankly ahead, just making my way through the crowd. And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder if I could fall into the sky. Do you think time would pass me by? 'Cause you know I'd walk 1,000 miles if I can just see you tonight. There's always times like these when I think of you, and I wonder if you ever think of me. 'Cause everything's so wrong and I don't belong living in your precious memory. 'Cause I need you and I miss you. Now I wonder if I could fall into the sky. Do you think time would pass me by?
Talking about that, I kind of did something a little crazy a while back and sold everything I owned and headed to Argentina to meet someone that I met online, thinking that that would have been the love of my life. Mistake, but I could relate with the book. What
Well, my
sparked
first
that idea?
girlfriend was very far away. But we both had anonymity, and that's what we both wanted. So,
Yeah, and to think you sold everything, went to Argentina, and went there, and then here I was in your backyard the whole
And
time.
that's a story before, too, where, somebody travels vast distances to be with somebody else. It doesn't work out, and they go back home and meet the next door neighbor,
That's
It
how it
happens
goes.
a lot.
Life is amazing. It never fails to amaze me at all, and that's why I love doing all these
You're
journeys.
late
And
or
all-
something, showing up to the party or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. Well, those journeys.
Journeys
there
are
wasn't
amazing.
supposed to be any more journeys, and now look at where we're at.
I'm a gypsy at heart. What can I say? I think life is, you have to live it. You can't just sit there in a 9-to-5 job behind a cubicle doing the same thing time and time again. That's not living.
No.
To me, how does
Yeah,
your
but for
spirit
some
grow?
people, that's a safety net. They don't have the adventurous spirit. So that's what the books are for. It's for
I
those
guess
people
so.
who can't bust out of that safety net.
I guess so, but how can your spirit grow?
Well, he was telling me about his journey that he had before, and I said, no more journeys. So then he's watching like videos of his journeys, like the mountains and everything like that. And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, no journeys. And so I'm like, yeah, not unless we get an RV, And I was joking, and here we are. There's an RV in the driveway. Oh my God, keep my mouth shut next time.
Called your bluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Have you traveled in an RV before, or have you done some road trips so that you kind of got it going, or got your systems down before you go?
No, it's just like, boop, do it. Just do it, like Nike commercial
Will
says.
so regret that.
No. It'll be fun.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, yeah, I did. I went in an RV for a few days, which was pretty cool. But, again, I was a kid, and I was a lot smaller then, so...
Life is a journey. It's meant to be journeyed, and it's meant to be experienced, and no regrets.
Well, whatever you do, make sure you get AAA with the RV protection.
Yeah,
It will help
we
you out
have good
immensely.
Sams, actually.
Good Sams.
Good Sams.
Okay.
That'll help.
So
It makes a difference, especially when you get a flat tire at 2:00 in the morning somewhere.
well, hopefully we won't be driving
Driving at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we're going to try to drive during the day and camp out, at night, because
You do
God,
meet an
don't-
interesting group of people because, you got some of the diehards who do nothing but go from RV park to RV park.
Yeah, well, go figure. Here I am. I transitioned to become a woman, and here I am now going to drive a truck and live in the woods. What's wrong with this picture? Goodbye, glitz and glam. What are you gonna do?
Well, you have people that make these assumptions about you. Now you're going to have to get flannel shirts, and you're going to have to, take pictures of you out by the foliage. Remember, leaves of 3, leave it be.
That's
That
very
sort
good
of thing.
information.
Yes.
That's very. I have a love for animals. Can you tell us about this? And are there? Hold on, we're having a problem with the prompt. And are there many furry friends in your life?
Well, if I had my druthers, I would probably have a hobby farm. But I want to travel, so I don't want to put that on anybody else. So right now, I moved here with 4 cats, 2 and a dog. I got rid of 1 dog before I moved and 1 cat. And now I'm down to 2 cats. So those are going to my son's, when I plan to travel again. Because I don't want to settle down for a while again.
Wow.
See, that's my dream. Eventually just end up living in a farm with animals, growing our own food, and just almost like the Amish, all natural, away from the hustle and bustle.
Really?
That'll be next, baby. Don't worry.
No.
Well, that's next.
No. The
I can see
fashion
that
is
Green
so...
Acres song, with the pitchfork. Green Acres or a place
Yeah.
to be. You'd look great with
Oh
that
my
pitchfork.
God.
Of course, I think
Yep.
it might end up Mark's backside.
If I could get that franchising going, I would be Jaja.
And there you go. To me, there's nothing more beautiful than nature and living the simple life. It's
Yeah.
like the glitz, the glamour.
Well, I don't like what the Amish wear. They wear like all black.
You'll
and
create a
white,
new
so
Amish
morbid.
style. You'll create,
You'd
that's
have to
what we'll
add
do. We'll go-
color. They only, do dark browns and blacks and white.
Yes.
That's what we'll do. We'll go to Amish countries and we'll teach the Amish women how to be a little more.
Yeah,
That'll be
right.
our next
Okay. I don't think tube tops and mini shorts fit in, and the Amish. Anyway, next subject.
They'd be staring at you funny. I don't know why.
We're going to take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors, or actually get a message from one of our sponsors. So we'll be right back.
Yes.
Dr. Vardan Madirosian is a facial feminization surgeon in Jupiter, Florida. He did a fellowship in facial plastic and reconstructive surgery with one of the fathers of facial feminization surgery. He has also completed an extensive training in FFS for the past 6 years, working in close contact with his mentor. Dr. Madirosian performs surgeries in his office in a fully licensed operating room or in the local hospital with highly trained and reliable staff. Give him a call today at 561-624-0900. That's 561-624-0900. Dr. Madirosian is highly qualified and understands our needs. And we're back. Yes, we are. And we've got a phone call, so let's go ahead and take the phone call. Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi,
can
this
you
is
give us your
Karen.
name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Colorado. Nice snowy night outside, but I'm calling from Colorado. And just watching this the first time I've seen your program. It's so professionally done. It's very well done.
Thank you. Although live sometimes here and there, but hey, that's the live shows.
Little glitches
here and there. What can you do? But thank
So
you
I
so
had a
much.
question for
Thank you.
And again, I came in late to this. When you do all the traveling you're looking forward to doing, do you think that will show up in your books in the future?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because I'm going to start overseas, and for some reason, Australia's always been really high on my bucket list. So right now, I'm trying to work with people to do a book tour down there, so that I can integrate all of that and get my sightseeing in. But I'd also like to go to New Zealand and Indonesia. I have family actually in Bavaria, so I want to go there. And I do speak a little German, so I'll probably have to brush up on that.
That sounds like some fun times ahead. Yeah, again, I appreciate what you're doing here with the program to get lesbian fiction more known. There's so many good authors, including. I apologize. Is it K-Ann? How do you pronounce your name?
It's K-Ann.
K-Ann is just like as it's seen on there. Okay, because I think it's wonderful to get the literature more PR out there, and I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the only question I had was just about the traveling. It sounds like fun, even in an RV. KN, I think you need to go with those two and write about the experiences, just be an outside observer.
Definitely. What we're trying to do is probably create a little reality series from what we're going to be doing. I don't think there's too many transgender couples that buy an RV and just hit the road.
I think that'll be wonderful. I'd watch it in a heartbeat. So good luck with that.
I just had an epiphany or an idea here. The light bulb just went off. Hey, you can get one of those tow behinds, and we can hook you up to our RV, and we can cruise around, and we all have our own place.
There you go.
Well, Mel, when you get to Hawaii in your RV, you let me know. That's going to be a longer trip.
I don't know. They haven't made the ones that can
I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to say hi and thanks. I'm enjoying watching it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your call and for watching.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, floating. That's what they need to do. RVs that float in the water and that they actually fly too. They have?
Yes.
They have them.
They do.
I've seen video.
Wow. Oh, God.
That'll be our next one.
Yeah, that'll be our next one.
Yeah. Or we could go to Hawaii and we could go to the islands and
docking boat slips, docking RV slips.
Yeah.
Hey, what the heck, you know?
You'd be set. You could even do that Alaska thing.
No,
Alaska too cold.
I almost said yes to that. I almost said yes. You almost got me on that one.
You could go to Argentina again.
Yeah, even with I don't know how to build an igloo. Okay, that was a bad joke.
Like that.
Alaska, no. Hawaii, yes. I would love to live in Hawaii.
Yeah,
in a heartbeat.
Yes.
That would be another adventure.
That's why I want Indonesia, because I'd like to see all the beautiful scenery that I've seen pictures of, all your life. And who really thinks about going to Indonesia? You know what I mean? It's a tourist destination, but I don't know anybody that's ever been to Indonesia. And I thought, wow, what a cool place to go.
Definitely.
What's Indonesia?
Okay. Don't hurt yourself.
It's below, okay, if you look at a world map, it's below China and above Australia. It's that vast ocean full of islands.
Okay.
It's the one that had the big tsunami.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. I thought it sounded familiar. Yes, I thought it sounded familiar, but I just couldn't put two and two together. My geography is garbage.
It's okay. You're gonna learn now because you have a map.
Subjects, so that's why I write. That's why I write so many books that take place elsewhere. For instance, when I wrote timed romance, that took place in England, and then it took place in Australia, and my proofreaders were from those places, and I said, did I get it right? And one of them said, you just missed this little bit here and there, but yeah, it's believable. And that's what, takes the reader into those places.
Which is an amazing thing. Let's go back to your dreams. You said you've receive a lot of dreams that have allowed you to write books. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? And could it be that maybe your avatar or your other self is giving you this information via dreams?
Yes and no. You know how a lot of people meditate. Well, when I go to sleep at night, I daydream. I'm not sound asleep. So I will play scenarios over and over and daydream that way until I fall asleep. And then sometimes I will actually have dreams. Not only that come true, I have a lot of deja vu in my life. And there's no rhyme or reason to why these things happen or why I'm dreaming them. But some of that will end up in my books. I did write a book about winning the lottery. That $3 did not go very far, though, when I had that deja vu.
I know, for some reason, that deja vu with the lottery numbers never works.
No.
I did win, though. It told me I was going to win. I knew I was going to win. But $3? Come on, that's like a tease.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's $3 is better than nothing. How much did it cost for the tickets?
At that time, they were $1, but I just bought 3 more lottery tickets.
Exactly. Recycle the funds. What the heck? Exactly. So, is there anyone special in your life? And have you written about a love interest in the past?
Well, to the first part of that question, no. I am single. I'm at a point in my life that I want to change a lot going on in my life, and part of that travel, unless somebody has the money, I just don't. I don't want to disappoint a relationship or even put in the hours that would be required. I want to be selfish for a little while. Not that I'm not open to meeting somebody or having a relationship, but right now it's not a good time for that. And I recognize that, which is, I think, good, because then I'm not halfway in the relationship and halfway out the door. And as to the second one, yes, I've written about past relationships in a lot of my books. They just don't know it. Actually, what I've done is taken, some of the relationships and recycled them in different versions. So it isn't the same in every book, because no one person has the same facet all the time anyway. So they might recognize themselves, but my readers think it's a different person, and it might be the same person they don't know. Now they do.
The mystery. The mystery.
Definitely.
So here's a clip. Timed romance.
Play with your fingers. The behind the scenes. That's time romance. That tick, 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 tick.
Well, it looks like there was a lot going on in the chat room.
There's nothing going on in the chat room. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
the perks of living with a blonde.
The ticking watch, but it's very important to realize this is over the course of 20 years of these two people's lives. And, for a while, they're star-crossed lovers. And, life goes on even though you love someone and can't be with them. And then, I always have a happily ever after. But getting there times is exhausting.
Well, the happily ever after are the best ones.
Yes.
I can attest to that.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Stop being mushy on screen.
Why not?
You might need video evidence of that at some point.
You do the artwork on all your books too, you were saying, right?
Yes, in fact, some of the clips you did, like for Timed Romance, I've changed the cover on that, made it more lesbian friendly, because a friend of mine said it looked like a history book, and she had a good point. Same thing with Germanic. I put a beautiful couple, in the throes. So.
Nice.
Yes, I loved the art.
My favorite cover though, the Surfer, and I'm hoping to get that one out in paperback later this year. I did it as an ebook, and I just love that cover because it's just so beautiful. And I got so many great responses to that, and I think that's why the book sold so well.
Because of the cover, definitely. So, how do you define success as a writer, and do you feel you are successful?
I don't know how you would define it. I've been prolific. I've had a few jabs taken at me by other authors, so there's the jealousy factor. But I've also had some authors come up to me and say, you've done a great job. I love how you write. And that, to me, is a great compliment. I mean, the fans are fantastic. I love the reviews they give me, or through social media, they contact me and tell me how much my books meant to them. That feedback, to me, that's a success, because that means you're reaching to people on so many levels. I don't know if I'm successful. I think if just putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and not being devastated by that, that's a success on so many levels. Maybe when I'm living in a big mansion writing these things, Danielle Steele makes hundreds of millions of books sold. Maybe I could be the first lesbian fiction author to do that. That would be fantastic.
And success to me, though, is not about how much material things you collect while in this lifetime. I think success is doing what you love to do, being happy doing what you love to do, meeting the people that you get to meet, do.
For yourself.
Material, you can't take it with you when you go.
That's part of the
you really
traveling,
can't.
because I can do book signings anywhere in the world now. And whether they know me or not, the curiosity factor, the social media factor, all of that advertising, that book signing, or wherever I might be in the world, that's going to draw people, and you'll get to meet people from all over. And I mean, that whether I do that for the next 5 years or next 5 months or something like that, that memory will be with you forever. And I can use that not only in my books, but the feelings and emotions that it evokes.
And that's what you could take with you, are the feelings, the emotions, the memories. Material things come and go. But connections, the moment that you're living, that stuff goes with you from lifetime through lifetime. When you die, you can't tell everybody, okay, put all the stuff that I collected in my box and just bury it with me. You can't take it with you.
Come on, why not?
Because you can't.
Well, for one, there won't be a box or a body for me. I've already donated my body to science because of the cancer I survived. There you go. So I don't have to worry about that. I have it all planned out already.
There you go.
That's what I said. They're going to cremate me. They're not going to put me in a box. So.
Nope, I won't be cremated. It'll be science.
That's all I'd say.
Sprinkle me in an ashtray and bid me adieu.
Well, we could sprinkle your ashes.
Just not in Alaska. Well, you just
You'll be dead, you won't care.
Huh?
You'll be dead, you won't care.
Actually, that's true.
Although I did write a book about that, too. One of my characters in Ghostly Love actually fell in love with a ghost. And how I resolved that was pretty good.
That sounds very interesting.
Sounds like it make a good movie.
Yeah.
Well, I started another one, too, and the opening line is, I woke up dead this morning.
Okay, well, how do you do that? Please
How do you
elaborate
wake
a
up
little
dead?
bit. How do you wake
then
up
live
dead?
to write about it? Well, you have to read the book when I come out with it.
There you go. Can't give away the whole.
No, I wasn't saying that, but how can you say I woke up dead?
But if you read that line, wouldn't you want to find out?
Absolutely. That's why I'm so intrigued right
But
now.
there's many different ways of dying. It doesn't have to be physical death. It could be, spiritual
Metaphorical death?
metaphorical death, just like the majority.
I'm good at double entendres too, so.
Oh.
I mean, I just published my 55th book, and I think I'm doing something right because the fans seem to like it.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You just recently had a new release, A Journey Home. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about this book and where can they get a signed copy?
Let's fix that.
I'm blind.
I wrote The Journey Home. That one took me a little over a year, and I released that in December. And it actually takes place in northern Wisconsin in a little town called Meinel. You can get it from Amazon. I haven't actually done book signings where, they can get a signed copy, but they can get the paperback in Amazon. And then the ebook through Smashwords, and Smashwords has Sony and Kobo and Barnes & Noble and all of that. And that one's been really well received because it's a historical romance. It took place during the Depression years and, dealing with lesbianism during the Depression where you would have had to have hidden it and deal with everything there. And then this month I came out with Out at the End, and that has a ghost in it. And that takes place on the central coast of California by San Simeon and Hearst Castle. And then last week I came out with a short story called Love of My Life. And that is a very short story, but it's a double entendre.
Okay, I'm starting to sense that you have a fetish for ghosts.
No, I was going to say, I think there's a ghost that visits her at night and really wants to be known. Something near that nature.
It goes in cycles. I do have a ghost living in my house. She's not here all the time. But in the last house I lived in, I did have a ghost living there, and he was evil. And I could sense that.
Not good.
Last place we lived, I felt some evil presence there too.
Yeah. Well, then you must have, that extra sense. A lot of people are probably going, "You're nuts." Well, artistic people are nuts. Creative people are nuts.
That's right.
Well, you know what I'd like to do?
It's a matter of degrees.
I'd love to stay in some of these when we go on our journey here with this whole RV thing. I'd like to stay in places that are known for being haunted.
Great.
Well,
and what if we pick up a hitchhiking ghost?
You can do that.
Yeah,
they have lists of places. And if you look at the cover for Out at the End, that's a haunted mansion, and the story itself, I saw that picture and I said, I gotta write a book about that.
Awesome.
Yep. I don't want any hitchhiking ghosts. Thank you very much.
Oh, come on, that would
Last
be
thing
interesting.
We need is a haunted RV.
No, but what?
There's an idea.
There's a
haunted
book.
RV.
There's another book. Two trannies living in an RV. Went out and there you go with a ghost. Yeah.
I do have a book about a tranny that I started a couple of years ago, but it wouldn't have really been called a tranny at that point because it took place during the Crusades. Ooh. And I got inspired by the history of Pope Joan, if you know that story.
Yes.
And how you could hide being a woman, by being a man during that era so easily, I think.
Yeah, there was. Transgender individuals have been around forever. You got Joan of Arc. There was a lot of popes. There was a lot of Billy. What was the name? Billy something or another.
Billie Jean?
No, not Billie Jean. It was a female to male who actually lived her life as a male, and there was just a lot of history involved.
Well, that story occurred to me because I remember reading in the 70s. I remember reading an article about a woman who buried her husband, and it came out that it was actually a woman she was married to, and she didn't know.
Wow.
She didn't even know her own husband was a woman.
Wow.
There's a lot.
I remember something about that.
Yeah, and there's a lot that's been There's a lot of female who lived as men.
Yeah.
Soldiers.
Well, if you don't know, think of the era of where women weren't, sexualized. They didn't know about sex. So once the light went off, anything that they thought was normal, they wouldn't have known any better.
No, they wouldn't have.
Exactly.
Well, we want to thank you so much for being on the show. Is there anything else you wanted to tell our viewers?
In my website, I'm always coming out with new stuff, and I like hearing from my fans, so feel free to email me or catch me on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or all of those things. I love hearing from you.
We want to thank you so much. We've enjoyed
we
enjoyed the first interview on our radio show. We've enjoyed this one even more because we get to see your face, and it's just amazing. So thank you so much. Keep writing and keep doing your thing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, definitely.
We had a great time. You're awesome, Can.
Thank you.
Keep writing.
So, we will be right back with In the Trans News.
In the transition video of
Stay tuned.
Hi there, Gay Life Television viewers. This is Joe Crynock from Straight Not Straight and Cup of Joe here on Gay Life Television. So I have to ask you a question. Do you have a Roku box? Well, if you don't, then you're missing out on a ton of on-demand and exclusive content that we have available on Gay Life Television Premium. You can subscribe today by going to the Roku store on your Roku box or on the web at Roku.com and adding Gay Life Television Premium to your Roku for only $1.99 a month. Bringing quality television to the LGBTQ community, it's Gay Life Television Premium.
I like the Billie Jean song better.
I know. Anyway, behind the counter at Starbucks, Nico Walker wants to be seen as just a guy who craves In-N-Out burgers and burns it off with P90X, a guy who looks like Jeremy Renner, a guy who dreams of making films on YouTube. He bares his chest to show his mastectomy scars, tracks his shifting hairline, and shows how he injects testosterone.
Hundreds of people watch. Questions pop up from strangers. At his Westchester home, facing the tiny camera on a laptop, the 21-year-old feels safe. I almost forgot that I'm trans because I've had surgery. Walker tells his YouTube audience, but he keeps making the videos anyway to support his transgender brothers still looking for help.
I can't quit. When 3 or 4 years ago, I can't be quiet. When 3 or 4 years ago, I was in the same position, he said one afternoon before he started to record. As a high schooler, Walker stumbled across a video online and was transfixed as faraway strangers started talking. Like Walker, the person on camera was born in a female body, but identifies as male.
Back then, classmates at Culver City High School knew Walker as a girl who liked other girls, a tomboy, who goofily lip-synced to Justin Bieber. But Walker had never really felt like a lesbian, he said. When the teens saw that video, it was like, oh my God, this person reminds me so much of myself.
Thousands of teens and 20-somethings who are transgender, identifying with a gender that is different than their sex at birth, have turned to YouTube as a kind of public diary. As they start taking hormones or using new names, many are documenting their journeys on video, baring their souls and revealing their changing faces on strangers online.
Their videos tell stories that were once routinely hidden. Transgender people were told to abandon their old lives and craft a new history after making their transition. As recently as a decade ago, you lost everything if people knew that you had transitioned. Actress and activist Calprina Adams said, You eliminated dating opportunities. You exposed yourself to violence.
3 years ago, a national survey of more than 6,400 transgender and gender nonconforming people found that 71% had tried to avoid discrimination by hiding their gender or gender transition. Sharing their story remains risky. More than a third of people who were gender nonconforming or had a transgender identity before graduating from high school said they had been physically assaulted. The National Transgender Discrimination Survey found.
Yeah.
Definitely. And YouTube is like an amazing tool.
Yeah.
It wasn't around. I mean, YouTube was around, but there wasn't a lot of transitioning videos on there. And there was really no one you could really look up to.
Exactly.
Or relate to, for that matter. And nowadays, you just Google transgender and you
Even
get,
back in my day, there were
thousands.
When I was struggling with gender dysphoria and all that stuff and my gender identity issues, it was like there was none of that there. It was like I was able to find some stories, some things, but nothing like YouTube now. It's like the more and more people see that have these gender issues, they see these videos, it kind of is an inspiration. Wow, I can do
amazing all around. I mean, if you want to learn to do something, put the information on the search button and boop, there you go. You could fly an airplane, learn how to do anything through YouTube. So I love YouTube.
How to make little wood sculpture trinkets.
Yeah, anything at all. I'm talking
how to
about,
tie your shoe.
Yes. And speaking of transition video, here's a little prologue, whatever you want to call it, before we show the video. So you feel we belong in hell, that we defy the laws of God, but take a look within. Are you not capable of love and understanding? For our Father gave us the power to change what we felt was wronged. I am only the expression of our Creator, bringing forth the essence of the yin and the yang.
Traveling in a world that has been still for way too long, we are the answer to break that stillness and set us free from the dogmas you believe in. And now, for the transition video of the week with Cohen C.
I've made this video like 6 times. Okay, I made a montage. It's from when I was smaller to now, kind of describing my journey. I've had really good times and I've had really bad times, but here it is. I hope you enjoy.
I hate this town, it's so washed up, and all my friends don't give a fuck. They'll tell me that it's just bad luck. When will I find where I fit in? Showing, and you won't let anyone in. A crowded street can be a quiet place when you're walking alone. And now you think that you're the only one who doesn't have to try, and you won't have to fail if you're afraid to fight. Then I guess you never will. Get hide behind your walls of maybe nevers, forgetting that there's something more than just knowing better. Your mistakes do not define you now. They tell you who you're not. You've got to live this life. Like it's the only one you've got. Memories have left you broken, and the scars have never healed. The emptiness in you is growing, with so little left to feel. You're scared to look back on.
How can one fall all the time and climb again? How does one heart feel so lost to find again? How can one road lead the way today before giving it up? I wish I could fly to the top of the mountains so that I could see just how far this could go. Feels like I'm stuck in a battle, equipped with no armor, but still standing strong. 'Cause to be a survivor, y'all gotta know how. Y'all gotta know how to keep holding on. How does one give all they got? Just receive a half. How does one live day to day? Forget the past. Am I out here on my own?
Alright, well I hope you guys enjoyed. That was just a little montage of my journey to the point right now I'm at. And hopefully next month I'll be starting a new journey, transitioning. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to my channel. Leave in the comments anything you want me to talk about. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. And if it's more personal, just inbox me. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Alright?
Remember to send your transition video to transitionradioshow@gmail.com. That's transitionradioshow@gmail.com. It's amazing how these transformations seem unfolding right before our very eyes.
As we were talking about earlier.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we bring them to you week after week, their transition video of the week. Next week, Tuesday, we've got Lynn Lawler. She's also an LGBT author.
On the radio show.
On the radio show. And next Thursday, we don't have a guest, and we are going to be doing a show called Rising Epidemic, or the Universe Revealing Its True Self. So we're going to have little tidbits of things that we're going to put together for you. So it's going to be Justin Ein next Thursday. So please stay tuned for that. Just get to have us to yourself. Yes. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Kayan. Thank you to the chatters. Thank you to the caller. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Gay Life TV. And we're going to leave you with one of our originals called It's Your Life.
And thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah, and thank you to our sponsors, definitely.
One more thing to say.
Yeah. We love you. But remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night. Mwah.
Good night.